Hi Fabrizio, are you doing?
Hi Jordi, I'm fine.
Hey, do you remember Fast and Furious 6? He watched it at the cinema like a month ago.
Of course, that movie was amazing. The action scenes were crazy and the cast was incredible. Vin Diesel was Dominic Toretto, Paul Walker was Brian O'Connor, and Dwayne Johnson played Hobbs. They were all perfect for her roles.
Yeah, totally. What was the story again? I remember it had something to do with a criminal group.
Right, the story followed the crew after they finished their last mission. They were living peacefully, but then Hawks asked them for help to catch a criminal named Owen Shaw. So they all joined forces again and traveled to London. In addition, Don found out Letty was alive, and so everyone believed she was dead.
I couldn't believe that part. Was exactly happening when the Doom first saw Letty again?
So they were chasing Shaw things during a street race. Don suddenly saw Letty driving on the cars. At the same time, Brian and Roman were blocking the roads. Dawn was shocked and she didn't understand why she was with the enemy. Letty just looked at him like he was a stranger and then drove away.
Wow, that moment was emotional. What was Letty doing while Dom was catching her?
Mm, was racing like crazy through the streets, trying to escape. Dawn was calling her name, but she didn't respond. On the other hand, she looked confused and it seemed like she didn't remember him at all.
And she didn't write. She had lost her memory.
Yeah, that's why she working with Shaw. She couldn't remember who Dawn was or anything about her past. However, you couldn't tell she felt something familiar when she looked at him.
That was deep. What happened when the tank scene started?
Oh, that scene was intense when Roman and Brian were driving on the highway. Shaw's team broke off a huge tank. It started crushing cars and destroying everything. Meanwhile, Letty was standing on top of the tank, preparing to jump to another vehicle, so Tom rescued his life. He crushes his cars and flew to catch her.
That was crazy. And she finally started to trust him after that, right?
Yeah, she began to question Shaw and slowly to remember things about Dom and the team. But hey, what's your favorite scene in the movie?
Honestly, I loved the final battle on the plane. The team was trying to stop it from taking off. In addition, they used their cars to tie the plane down. While Dom and Brian were fighting inside, the others were outside pulling the plane with cables. It was so intense.
What happened when the plane exploded?
Well, Doom was still inside fighting Shaw, and Letty was trying to escape. At the same time, the engine were catching fire. Right before the explosion, Dom drove a car out of the plane with Letty and landed safely. In conclusion, it was one of the best action ending I've seen here.
Same here. The whole movie was full of energy. I really liked it how each character had their own moment to shine.
Yeah, and in addition, the story was emotional, not just cars and fight. It was about family, trust, and second chances.
Exactly. So, shall we watch Fast Furious 7 next weekend?
Absolutely. I'll bring that popcorn.